coaches are reacting to Nico and Tennessee's decision to part ways with him, which is largely being placed on the shoulders of the Iamaleava family. Hot or cold, we'll break this down, but the consensus is what from coaches that are sharing their opinions via the social media?
Lots of support for Josh Heupel, from any type of coaches to the young, hot, rising up-and-comers to the ones that are very successful right now to ones that may be on the hot seat to Hall of Famers who have retired.
Okay, let's get to Hot or Cold, brought to you by City Heating and Air Conditioning, cityheatandair.com. We'll bring you those comments now.
Where do you stand? Hot or cold? Brought to you by City Heating and Air Conditioning. Integrity matters. 50 years in East Tennessee. Cityheatandair.com. On Off the Hook Sports.
Yeah, we do need a Damn It Dave shirt. That's a pretty good one. Bring Gaston Moore back. I'm all for it. I don't know where he is now, but I think he'd be the starter if he was on Tennessee's roster. All right, so what do we got from different coaches around the league and around the nation?
Yes, we're going to start with Notre Dame coach Marcus Freeman, and I will share as many of these clips with you guys as I can. So we're starting with Marcus Freeman, and I can share that one. This is what he said about the situation on 3. Here we go, right here, Marcus Freeman, the Notre Dame's coach, talking with J.D. Pickle.
Situation that became public, but I think it happens all over the country, right? And that, I think you have representatives for players and representatives for the university that are kind of having those discussions, but that one was a public one. The reality is our players are getting compensated, deserve to get compensated. What you don't want to do is what I'm sure you've heard many coaches say is you don't want players to make a temporary decision based off a temporary situation that's going to affect them long-term, right? And that transactional decisions aren't always the best ones for your future. And, I think every situation's different. Every football program's different. But at the end of the day, you want to do what's right for college football, between what's right for college football, also what's right for our players. But you don't want this public disagreement to really tarnish what's so good about.
Yeah, and along those lines, I wouldn't be surprised if Tennessee's having similar discussions or was having similar discussions with another player, and they're far apart on money. And I do think the way Josh Heupel handled the Nico situation, if those players were thinking to themselves, I'll just jump in the transfer portal and force his hand, I think you're less likely to do that now because Josh Heupel has said he won't stand for it with his most important players. So what if you're a defensive tackle? He's going to let you go.
Yeah, but see, I'm cold on what Marcus Freeman said because it just felt like he was being a little too fair to Nico, and he was trying to say this is happening everywhere. This one was just public. I don't buy that. I don't think there was this much of a misplay among quarterbacks with their father elsewhere. So I'm cold on what Marcus Freeman said there.
Okay, well, I'm actually hot.
That's hot.
I think he hit the nail on the head. Who's next?
Shane Beamer. A brilliant assessor of coaches and players says that, and someone who has never ever cheated when facing Tennessee, but said that he saw it. His exact quote was, "I saw it like everybody. I'm not trying to avoid the question. I've got my own program to think about, and that's what I'm trying to do. It's unfortunate and don't know the whole story and who was told what and everything. Got a lot of respect. Don't know the quarterback. Got a lot of respect for Coach Heupel and how he does things and the people in that program. I spent 3 years there and know a lot of people still in the building that are in different roles. So I got a lot of respect for the whole organization." Very cagey on that, but I'm hot on it because that's probably how Josh Heupel would comment on it if he was commenting on another school.
Yeah, and I'm hot on it too. I believe him.
That's hot.
Because he knows Tennessee. He knows there's more than just NIL money to play for, which probably isn't the case at South Carolina. I mean, let's face it. If Tennessee needed to make a coaching change in a couple years, they called Shane Beamer. He would absolutely be all about coming to Knoxville. Hot or Cold, brought to you by City Heating and Air Conditioning, cityheatandair.com. 30 seconds and then more comments from coaches around the nation with Nico Gate 2025.
Hi, Mike Davis here with City Heating and Air, reminding you to always dare to compare. Our team provides quality local heating and air service, installation, and maintenance across East Tennessee. We use only the best equipment like American Standard heating and air conditioning for your residential, new construction, or commercial needs. Honesty, dependability, and customer satisfaction have been the cornerstones of our business since 1961. City Heat and Air.
All All right, Caleb, who's next?
Dan Lanning, the Oregon coach, who was obviously the one who contacted Tennessee about Nico contacting him. He commented on whether or not the character of Tennessee saying the team is whether the character of Tennessee is saying the team is above the individual. His question was, if a player is asking how many snaps are going to play for Oregon next year, Dan Lanning goes, how many snaps am I going to play for Oregon next year? 0. It doesn't matter what I know. It's about what your players know and what they can execute. There's a lot of negatives around what people talk about, like the portal and how that exists. Truth is, the portal is revealing a lot of character programs. And here you have a relationship with your coach. There's a connection. You feel like you can talk to this guy about stuff beyond football. And I think that relationship is really important. It's not coach-player. It's coach-player. And that's the guy that has to go execute. That means he has to love the guy that he's playing for. He's got to believe in what we're doing. How do you create belief? Guys want to know the why today, and basically talking about this is all about the coach-player relationship. And I'm hot on that too. I think because yeah, the Nico Heupel relationship was very underrated. I think they were much closer than we give them credit for.
I'm back and forth on this. I'm straddling the fence because I think that Nico used that relationship as a way of smoothing things over when his dad was being a jackwagon. I think that he was great friends, but at the end of the day, Caleb, you and I are friends. But at the end of the day, if I don't support you in something as important as this that could affect your future, then I'm not a great friend. So I'm going to say that's not hot. I'm going to say that's cold, brought to you by City Heating and Air Conditioning, because if you're a great friend to somebody, you're in it through thick and thin. You go to Pops and you say, Pops, I don't want to do this. And that didn't happen.
That is probably true, but again, sometimes you can be a great friend, and then it's hard to break from your parents. Let's just say that.
Yep.
All right, old ball coach comes in and gives his own comments on another Dooley Noted podcast with Pat Dooley. We've had Pat Dooley on this show. Here is what Steve Spurrier said about this situation.
So it'll be interesting to see who picks him up. But Tennessee, I think they did the right thing. They said, hey, we had a deal for 4 years, I think they had with him, and now he wanted to up in it, and they said, no, we're not going to do that. So they're looking for a quarterback. Tennessee, they've already admitted it. So many.
I just wonder how Steve Spurrier would have handled this. I don't think he would have had any patience for this whatsoever.
Steve Spurrier was very well aware that he could take average quarterbacks and make them great. And I think Steve Spurrier, as you have told me plenty of times, the only rule in Steve Spurrier's system as a quarterback is you have to be willing to get hit, right? If you're willing to get hit, he'll make you good. He'll make you good, right?
I don't believe that he would tolerate these NIL shenanigans from some of his best players. I mean, the Curses of the world, the Gaffneys of the world. I don't think he would have tolerated this from anybody.
No, I don't think so either. I think that's a very good point.
But you're right. Probably the quarterback at Florida was not the most important guy. You needed a playmaker that could make him look better. And in Florida's case under Spurrier, they had a ton of them.
I mean, multiple times from like the late 90s, he was alternating Jesse Palmer, Doug Johnson, Rex Grossman. I mean, he didn't really care, honestly. And so, no, I agree. So a couple more, Steve Sarkisian, and then we'll go to the final one. But Steve Sarkisian talked about his quote. I think it's a difficult decision for Nico and his family. It's a difficult one for Coach Heupel in Tennessee and what they're trying to do. You know, ultimately, we all have so much money to operate with, and we're all trying to build a team. And that's one of the beautiful things about football. It's the ultimate team sport. It's no different than if you were in the NFL. I'm cold on this. I think that's a dumb quote. I think that it works. It's working totally different than the NFL right now. And Steve Sarkisian knows that.
Yep, I can roll with that. Coming up on the program. Yes.
Yeah, there's one more.
Oh, sorry.
I saved the most fiery one for last. Mario Cristobal, who I am not high on, and who did just open up a checkbook for Carson Wentz, funny enough. So we can see what we think of him saying this. But here's what Mario Cristobal said on the situation.
We're not going to do that at Miami. And I say that without any hesitation. You know, if anyone's thinking that, then they could be the best player in the world. If they want to play holdout, they might as well play.
And for those who,
all that get out. I like that. Clever.
I'm not buying it. He went and bought Carson Beck in the offseason from Georgia when Carson Beck was holding out from Georgia. So I'm cold on that.
Listen, I don't believe any coach says he's not going to renegotiate. You're going to some extent. Tennessee got Nico from, we believe, 2 to 2.2 or 2.5 million. They renegotiated with him to some extent. Every coach is going to do that. It's just the way the game's played. It's not fair. It's not right, but the contracts are not binding. So that's just where you are. Now, you're not going to necessarily, if Carson Beck comes to them before the season and says, I'm not starting the season opener unless you double my pay, then you're telling him to kick rocks, right?
Right. No, I agree. Yeah.